So
Yeah.
one of the things that I found interesting about our conversation earlier is
Mhm.
typically there is some sort of big hurdle that folks will go through, which will bring them into the path of being a speaker. And it seems as though
Yeah.
you have a natural talent starting at a very young age, 3, 4 years old, where you just wanted to share. You wanted to tell stories.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what is it about it? Is it an adrenaline rush? Do you like adrenaline? Or do you ever find yourself, are you a skydiver? Are you into these sorts of things?
Yeah, I've done skydiving
I knew
just
it.
yeah, just to do it. I actually did the firewalk and then learned how to teach the firewalk. So I led firewalk classes.
What?
Yeah, so it's just some things that are just not the reason why I stopped teaching classes is because motivation is good as far as it goes. I mean, you can be motivated. I can get you pumped up for 6 months, but then what happens after that? So
Right.
that's the biggest reason why I stopped doing that. Yeah, it was a great draw, but it didn't help people really make a difference. It just was something that I never really had any challenges in life. Everything was going well for me. I learned a lot of different things, and I watched my dad grow up from the lowest position in the post office to becoming one of the first postmasters of color in the United States.
What?
So I watched that happen. Um, I just saw that, but I also saw the negative side of things. Like they're from Texas,
Right.
so if we went down, we'd go down there every summer. But during the time period when I was really young, this takes us back, ages me right now.
Yeah.
But we used to have to drive nonstop from Denver down to an hour past Dallas. Only place you could stop is get gas.
Right.
You had to stop on the roadside to eat your lunch. You had to bring your own lunch with you because people of color weren't allowed to use restaurants and stay in hotels. So that
So
was something,
that was in your lifetime?
that was in my lifetime, yeah.
That is insane.
And it got where they passed laws that you can't do that, but you still weren't welcome there.
Right.
So there's only one restaurant I remember. It was called the Bonanza Restaurant. It was in Wichita Falls, and we would leave out of our grandmother's home at 3 o'clock in the morning, and it would take us 5 hours to get to Wichita Falls. These folks, they loved us. Every
Right.
year, they remembered my dad and my mother, and we could sit down and have pancakes. We'd be the only people of color in the room, but they didn't care. They loved us.
Right.
So every year, oh, hey, you guys are back. And then we'd get our pancakes from there in the mornings we're going back. So you always found kindness in people.
Right.
You have to start balancing these things out. There's, some people are super kind.
Yeah.
Uh, Denver above the Mason-Dixon line, you'd think would be super kind. Sometimes yes, sometimes no.
Right.
So there was, answer to your question, no real big trauma ever came up to me. No, up until recently. I've gotten sick here since last July,
Okay.
but I didn't really have a trauma until then. The
Okay,
only thing I had
so
was
so you are unique in that regard. I think every single
I think so.
interview I've had up until this point, there is that sort of, or that you're just really well adjusted. Maybe there is something that will uncover, but I mean, I'll take
Yeah.
you at your word that you had